Alright, we are here in beautiful sunny Florida, and today, fight fans, we are going to be breaking down UFC Fight Night 107, Manuwa versus Anderson in London, England. And so this card, man, this card is actually, I really like this card. There's so much good stuff on here. It's good from a fight fan perspective. It's good from a betting perspective. The only thing it's really missing is like a big main event, and they came through last year with two big main events for London, which were Bisping Hendo rematch and Bisping versus Anderson Silva. And now those poor old London fans are stuck here with Jimmy Manuwa versus Corey Anderson, which is not a big main event, but I am happy for Jimmy Manuwa that he is getting that big main event fight. Last time he had a big main event fight like this was against Alexander Gustafsson. That did not go well for him, but spoiler alert, I think Jimmy Manuwa is going to get a big ol' victory here. But of course, we are going to be breaking down the whole 13 fight card here. I already have 7 bets up, and I am looking at an eighth whenever that prop gets released. Anything else to get to? Nah, man. Let's just get right into this breakdown. Let's do it. So first fight of the night, we got a rematch. We got Lena Lansberg minus 280 taking on Lucy Pudilova plus 240. So like I said, yeah, these ladies have actually fought before in Sweden. I forget the name of the promotion. I think it's called Battle of Botnia, I want to say, but this fight was just over a year ago. And Lena Lansberg pretty much just dominated this girl. Lucy really had nothing for her. It was mostly just Lena pushing her up against the cage for 3 rounds and doing a whole lot of really nothing. But so this minus 280 here, that definitely is it is deserved, and I honestly wouldn't hate somebody if they were to put Olena Landsberg in a parlay, just because I think she's pretty reliable. This girl Pujilova, she's coming in on short notice. She's been dominated by Lena Landsberg before. It was just over a year ago. I can't see how she could have made the improvements in a year to beat Lena Landsberg, unless, of course, that beating from Chris Cyborg was just too much for Lena Landsberg. So, it's a little hard for me to trust Lena Landsberg, especially at minus 280. So, this fight is a pass for me. However, my official prediction is Lena Landsberg via a 30-27 decision, and that's with a bit of confidence there. So if you're thinking about putting Lena Landsberg in a parlay, I would not hate that whatsoever, but it's a pass for me. Moving on here, we got Scott Askham minus 155 taking on Brad Scott plus 135. So I didn't do a whole lot of research on this fight, and I should, just because the guy I am picking is the underdog, Brad Scott. The only fights I watched were each of their fights against Krzysztof Yatko, and I think Brad Scott had a little bit more. He did better against Yatko than Askham did, and I've just been more impressed with Brad Scott. Brad Scott's one of those tough SOBs who's just he's really underrated, and he's really strong. He throws bombs, and I could see him hurting Scott Askham, and I could also see him just wearing on Scott Askham for 3 rounds here. Scott Askham's path to victory here really is to just keep range and strike Brad Scott up for 3 rounds. I'm a bit surprised by the line here. Um, Probably after I record this, I might go ahead and watch a couple more each of their fights, because plus 135 on Brad Scott looks pretty good. I might just see if it gets to plus 150, maybe even plus 145 to pull the trigger on Brad Scott, but I do like his chances here quite a bit, and I definitely don't think he should be the underdog. He's had a bit of a layoff with injuries. I think that's probably the reason why he is the underdog here, but I'm going to go with Brad Scott here. My official prediction is going to be Brad Scott via a 30-27 decision. And if that line gets a little bit better, I am going to be taking the shot on old Brad Scott. But moving on here, we got Ian Entwistle plus 300 taking on Brett Johns minus 360. And man, we know the deal with Ian Entwistle now. It's leg lock or bust, and he can hit that leg lock. He has before in the UFC. I mean, he leg locked Anthony Burchak in his UFC debut. This is Brett John's sophomore appearance. Brett John's coming off a really awesome fight and awesome win against Kwan Ho Kwok. And Brett Johns showed some serious skill there, man. Especially in his UFC debut, had no jitters whatsoever. And I really like Brett Johns here to avoid the leg lock and get an early finish of his own. Um, I think Brett Johns is too slick for that shit. I think Ian Entwistle is gonna go for that leg lock, and Brett Johns is gonna probably lock up a submission of his own. And man, I can't stress enough. I really do like Brett Johns here. Minus 360 is a little too tough. I do have a unit on him in a parlay, but I would have gone more. But just minus 360 against a dangerous leg lock guy, I could see Ian Entwistle hitting that, which is also why I have the under 1.5 rounds in a one unit parlay. So two plays here, man. One unit on Brett Johns in a parlay, and one unit on Ian Entwistle, or one unit on Brett Johns in a parlay, and one unit on the under 1.5, just to cover me in case Ian Entwistle does hit that early leg lock. But if he doesn't, he's got a bit of quit in him, and I think Brett Johns is talented enough to go out there and get a finish of his own. So Brett Johns' first round submission is my pick. And moving on here, what do we got here? I don't even trust best fight odds order in the fights anymore, just because it's always jumbled up. But we do got Vicente Luque minus 160 taking on Leon Rocky Edwards plus 140. So I'm struggling with this pick, man. I really, Vicente Luque, he has looked so good lately, man. I saw him in person choke the life out of Hader Hassan. And on that same card, I saw Leon Edwards get out grappled, manhandled by Kamaru Usman. But Leon Edwards, he's no slouch, man. He's super good, man. Leon Edwards is a very skilled guy. He's got power in his hands. He's got decent grappling to go along with it. So I think I don't think Vicente Luque is gonna want to go in there and strike with Leon Edwards like he has done with his past couple opponents, Urbina and Muhammad. I think Vicente Luque is gonna want to get this to the ground and show off his superior jiu-jitsu. But the thing is, I think Leon Edwards is most likely going to be able to stuff takedowns. I could be wrong, but I think he should be able to. And I think we're looking at a striking match there. And ultimately, I see this being a 3 round close decision. And, you got Leon Edwards, the British guy. You could see a little home cooking there for old Leon Edwards. So I I am going to be looking at taking the shot on Leon Edwards if it gets to plus 150. That is the line I've been waiting for. It was at plus 145. Then it dropped down to plus like 115. And now it's back up here at a plus 140. So I think money's going to come in on Vicente Luque just because he has all the hype right now. So I'm going to be looking at a underdog shot on Leon Edwards, and this is just a coin flip fight for me. I mean, if I had to pick somebody, I guess it would be Vicente Luque, but this is like a 52% sure pick for me. It's a very close fight for me. Um, both guys have power in their hands, so a knockout wouldn't surprise me, but I see this being a close 3 round striking match. So I am going to ever so slightly favor Vicente Luque. He's made amazing improvements with his striking over with Henry Hooft, and it's tough, man. Leon Edwards doesn't have that home crowd. I'm just really looking forward to this fight, man. I kind of don't even want to bet on this fight just because I want to sit back and enjoy it. I'm huge fans of both these guys. Like I said, I watched them both fight live. But official pick is going to be Vicente Luque via a 29-28 decision. And moving on here, my first huge play of the night. We got Tom Breese minus 255 taking on Ulawale Bamgbose plus 215. And man, I really don't understand the line right now. Minus 255 Tom Breeze. I set my line at minus 500 Tom Breeze. I really just don't think Oluwalo Bamgbose is going to have anything for him at all. He really only has a puncher's chance, and Tom Breese is too smart for that shit. Tom Breese is not going to get caught by Oluwalo Bamgbose here. You know, he is a tall guy, so but he doesn't really have that tall man defense like some other guys. Tom Breese, he's going to be able to jab Bamgbose the hell up. He's going to be landing some big shots of his own. Wouldn't be surprised if he got a knockout of his own. But what I'd like to see him do here is take down Bamgbose and show off that ridiculously superior ground game. We saw Uriah Hall, of all people, take down Bamgbose and ground and pound him out. Tom Breese can possibly do way, way more violent things to Bamgbose than Uriah Hall did. So I really just love Tom Breese wherever this fight goes. I will be extremely comfortable if it's on the ground, and even if Tom Breese decides to stay and strike with Oluwalo Bamgbose, although Bamgbose does have big power, I'm going to feel comfortable there. So a fighter where I'm going to feel comfortable wherever the fight is. I really like to bet on that fighter, and I do have what would it be? My fifth ever max play. I do have 5 units riding on Tom Breese here. I have 3 units on a parlay of Tom Breese and somebody later in the card, and I do have 2 units of Tom Breese and somebody different later in the card. So love Tom Breese here wherever the fight goes. I'm just betting against a puncher's chance. And I really have a hard time seeing Aloe Bamgbose land that big shot. And even if he does, Tom Breese has a chin, man. He ate some big shots from old Sean Strickland. But moving on here to another confident pick, man. We do have Mark Diakiese minus 200 taking on Teemu Packalen plus 170. And Teemu Packalen, he's an interesting guy and all. He's got an interesting look. He's coming off a huge win, man, like 20 something seconds against Tybalt Godi. But the thing is with Tybalt Godi is he has like one of the worst chins in UFC history. And Teemu Packalen, he landed a big shot on Godi, which most people would do. And then he got him down to the ground. And Teemu Packalen is no fucking slouch of a grappler. Packalen is a great, great, great grappler. So, submitting a rocked Tybalt Godi on the ground, that really doesn't impress me too much. But then you got Mark Diakiese, who really, in my opinion, I've been saying it, the dude is really special, and a lot of people are really underestimating him now because he had that super close fight with Frankie Perez, where Frankie Perez was, I guess he was kind of outstriking Mark Diakiese, which I didn't think would happen. I bet on Mark Diakiese there, and I'm happy it cashed and all, but that was a scary fight, man. But what Mark Diakiese showed off in that fight, which really got him the W, is his underrated wrestling and grappling, man. A lot of people were just talking about his striking, but the dude can grapple, the dude can wrestle, and I've been saying that all along. You look at his early European fights, and before he was knocking people out, he was out grappling them, he was wrestling them, and I think he's going to be able to use that wrestling and grappling defensively here, keep this fight on the feet, and piece Packalen up, probably get that knockout. So my official pick here, man, is a Mark Diakiese first round KO. And I do have Mark Diakiese in that 2 unit parlay with Tom Breese. And let me see. I forget the odds I got on that. Diakiese and Breese, 2 units to win 1.7. So good line there. Something like, I think I got it at minus 115. But yeah, Mark Diakiese and Tom Breese, 2 unit parlay there. That's all I got on Diakiese, just 2 units. But yeah, man, first round knockout is my prediction. But moving on here, we got Tim Johnson minus 155 taking on Daniel Omeilanczuk plus 135. So we got Timmy Big Dick versus Danny O. Man, I really like Tim Johnson here, man. I don't think highly of Daniel Omeilanczuk at all. I will admit I have sucked at betting Danny Ohm's fights in the past. I think I've lost quite a bit on him. I bet on Danho against Omeilanczuk. I bet the over 1.5 rounds in the Struve Omeilanczuk fight. That lost. And I bet Olenek against Daniel Omeilanczuk, and Omeilanczuk won that fight. So terrible track record of betting Danny Ohm's fights, but I'm not going to let that deter me. I do have one unit on Timothy Johnson here in a parlay with the Brett Johns under 1.5 rounds. So yeah, man, I basically just think Timothy Johnson, he's the much bigger guy here. I'm pretty sure Danny Ohms really only weighs in at like 235, and I think Timothy Johnson should be able to out wrestle Daniel Omeilanczuk here for the course of 3 rounds, if not get a ground and pound stoppage somewhere in the middle of the fight. I was looking at the under 2.5 rounds because anytime I see an under 2.5 rounds in a heavyweight fight, I'm always going to have my eye on that. And it is minus 120 now. It was plus 125, so I'm not going to be looking at it anymore unless it goes back to plus money. Lost my chance with the plus 125. Good on you if you got that. Under 2.5 rounds plus money in a heavyweight fight is always, always nice. Basically, I just don't think Omeilanczuk is going to have anything for Timothy Johnson here. I think Timothy Johnson should be able to eat the best of Danny Ohm's shots. Timothy Johnson, he fought Marcin Tybura, and we know what a dangerous striker Tybura is. Much better than Omeilanczuk. So, really, I have a hard time seeing Omeilanczuk's path to victory here. I would have more on Timothy Johnson, but like I said, bad track record betting Danny Ohm's fights, plus it is heavyweights. So just a one-unit play here on Timothy Johnson and the Johns under 1.5 rounds. And what did I get that at? I'm sorry, I should have this shit memorized. I just so one unit to win 1.6. Timothy Johnson and the Johns under 1.5 rounds. Official pick is going to be Timothy Johnson via a 30-27 decision, but a stoppage would not surprise me in the slightest. But moving on here, we got Darren Stewart minus 165 taking on Francimar Barroso plus 145. And another rematch on this card, man. First fight really was about like 1 minute long, and basically we just saw Darren Stewart show in that 1 minute that he starts off strong and he's the superior fighter to Francimar Barroso. And this was in Brazil too, keep in mind. And Darren Stewart, he did land a headbutt on Francimar Barroso. I believe the head hit the jaw, and Francimar Barroso, he just grabbed his face like this and was just doing this constant, like he just kept his hands on his face, and no matter how bad it hurts, you got to keep fighting. That looked like a, I mean, I'm sure it hurt like hell. I've never had some kind of jaw injury like that, but you got to keep fighting, man. There's guys in the UFC that'll keep fighting after that, so. I think Darren Stewart got Francimar Barroso a little bit shook there. Francimar, he learned in that first minute that this old British kid is nothing to fuck with. I think Darren Stewart is going to go in there and get the real first round finish this time in his home country of England. So really like Darren Stewart here. I do have Darren Stewart in that one unit play with Brett Johns, and I got that at minus 101, 1 unit to win basically 1 unit. So love Darren Stewart there. My first round, or my prediction is a first round TKO for Darren Stewart. And I was thinking about putting more on Darren Stewart. We'll see, man. We will see. The line did get better on him. Not by much, but I got him at minus 170. He's minus 165 now, so we'll see, man. We'll see. But moving on here to the main card, we got Makwan Amirkhani minus 130 taking on Arnold Allen plus 110. And this is, I think, yeah, this is the only fight where I changed my pick after tape study. Originally was going with Arnold Allen, and after tape study, I'm going with Makwan Amirkhani, man. I think he's a special grappler, man, and I haven't seen anything from Arnold Allen to give me the confidence that he's gonna stuff takedowns from Makwan Amirkhani. I think Makwan is really, really great, man. And a lot of people talk about the layoff of Makwan Amirkhani, but Arnold Allen's had just as long as a layoff, man. And the thing is, Arnold Allen is coming off injuries. Makwan Amirkhani just wanted to take the time off, so You got Arnold Allen with the injuries to worry about. Manuwa Amirkhani, nothing to worry about. I listened to an interview with him yesterday. He sounded to be in great spirits. He says he's going to finish Arnold Allen in the first minute. I don't know about all that, but I am going to be picking Mr. Finland here. I'm going to be picking a 30-27 decision for Amirkhani. Um, a submission wouldn't really surprise me, but it's just this thing with TriStar guys. I know Arnold Allen is a very young guy with tons of potential training at TriStar, but I'm just not convinced that he's ready yet for a guy like Manuwa Amirkhani. And the thing is with these TriStar guys, like the biggest weakness in most of these young TriStar guys is the takedown defense. And I'm not saying Arnold Allen has bad takedown defense, but it's just something to worry about, man. So I do favor Manuwa Amirkhani here quite a bit. He's at minus 130 now. If he gets down to minus 110, I'll be looking to put some money on old Manuwa Amirkhani there. So, like I said, official prediction 30-27 Manuwa Amirkhani. But moving on here, we do got Brad Pickett minus 120 taking on Omeilanczuk Vera plus 100. Brad Pickett's retirement fight, man. What can I say about Brad Pickett? Really, really awesome fighter. Always comes to fight. Always comes to put on exciting fights. That fight against Thomas Almeida was amazing. He's had tons of amazing fights. But Brad Pickett's been in the end of the road for a very long time now. And let me just look at Brad Pickett's record for a second, because this guy really has not had a clean win in a very, very long time. So I believe he's on like a 3-fight losing streak right now. Officially, oh, just a 2-fight losing streak, but okay. So we had the 2-fight losing streak against Faber and Alcantara. He got the split decision win against Francisco Rivera, but before that he was on another 3-fight losing streak. So I thought he lost the Francisco Rivera fight, and most people thought he lost that Francisco Rivera fight. So if you count that as a loss, man, he's on a 6-fight losing streak, and not as some of these losses aren't against the best guys like Francisco Rivera, Chico Camus, an older Ian McCall, but it's still a good Ian McCall. But man, and Uriah Faber beat him in his retirement fight. Uriah's still good, but still a guy that's on his way out beating you. Still, man. And then you got Marlon Vera here on the other side, who's just been putting in work at Jackson's. He's a young guy, improving every single fight, man. Had a really awesome performance against Roman Salazar. He came in short notice at a weight class above in his last fight to beat Guing Yu Ning, which isn't the best, but man, I think Marlon Vera is a great underdog pick here. I love Marlon Vera here. I think Brad Pickett is probably going to get pieced up on the feet here. He's going to get hurt. Marlon Vera is going to take him down to the ground and get that submission, man. Marlon Vera is no slouch with the grappling, and he's always dangerous on the ground at all times. I mean, you look at that. If you've never seen Marlon Chito Vera versus Enrique Briones, their tough Latin America fight, Briones was taking Vera down. Vera, he throws an up kick in the second round and knocks Enrique Briones out stiff with an up kick, and it was just an amazing fight. So Marlon Vera is a guy that's always fighting. He's a guy that'll fight for your money, and he's super dangerous on the feet and the ground. So a super dangerous, young, fast guy that's ever improving at a great camp against a guy that's on his way out that hasn't had a clean win in a very, very long time. I like that a lot, and I got one unit on Marlon Vera at plus 150. He's now down to plus 100, so that line got hammered. Um, I'm not. I would say plus 100 is still bettable. I wouldn't hate you if you took Vera minus or plus 100, but that plus 150, man, I'm super happy about that. I kind of wish I would have put more on it, but it is what it is. Marlon Vera still, at this point, is a low-level fighter, so one unit is all I really want to have on him. But I really like Marlon Vera in this fight, so my official prediction is going to be a second-round submission for Marlon Vera, and we will see Brad Pickett put down the gloves in the octagon and retire right then and there. So all the props to Brad Pickett, although I am picking against him. But moving on to the co-main event here, we got Alan Jouban plus 300 taking on Gunnar Nelson up to minus 360 right now. He was minus 270 this morning, man. His that line has been flopping all over the place. But minus 360 for good reason, man. I set my line here at minus 400. I love Gunnar Nelson in the spot, man. So what does Alan Jouban do? I mean, he has some grappling. It's not great. It's nowhere near Gunnar Nelson's level of grappling, but Alan Jouban is a striker. So he goes in there against Albert Tumanov, tries to strike with Albert Tumanov, gets KO'd in the first. Gunnar Nelson, he goes in there and tries to strike with Albert Tumanov, and he outstrikes Albert Tumanov. Now, MMA math doesn't always work, but in my opinion, like specific areas of the fight game, that kind of math works. So, it Gunnar Nelson's striking was better than Tumanov's, and Tumanov's striking was better than Alan Jouban's. So, I have an easy reason to believe that Gunnar Nelson is the superior striker to Alan Jouban, and we already know about the grappling. So I love Gunnar Nelson wherever this fight goes. I think he's super dangerous wherever the fight goes. I think he could pop Alan Jouban with a big shot on the feet and probably knock him down to the ground and wrap up a submission. I think he can take down Alan Jouban if he really wants to. I love Gunnar Nelson in this fight. I think his chin will hold up if Alan Jouban does happen to land a big shot, which, maybe he does. I would say maybe he has one moment in that fight, depending how long it lasts. But I love the Icelandic fighter here. Right now I have 3 units on Gunnar Nelson, parlayed with Tom Breese, 3 units at minus 119. And I do plan on max betting Gunnar Nelson. I'm going to be putting that other 2 units on Gunnar Nelson at in the Gunnar Nelson wins in the distance prop. We'll see what that looks like. Hopefully plus money, but we'll see, man. Um, Love Gunnar Nelson here. I'm a big fan of Alan Jouban too. I just think this is just a terrible stylistic matchup for him. Also, the European fighter Gunnar Nelson, he's going to have the crowd behind him. Less of a plane trip for him against the American fighter Alan Jouban, taking a very, very long flight over to London. So Gunnar Nelson first round submission is my pick. I think he's going to rock Jouban on the feet, knock him down to the ground, and wrap up that sub. 3 units on Gunnar Nelson, looking to be five. But so 2 max bets already for this card. I've only had 4 max bets ever in my career, so 2 there. And right here is a third on this card, man. We got Jimmy Manuwa minus 150 taking on Corey Anderson plus 130. So, man, I just think this is terrible for Corey Anderson. Maybe if it was a 3 round fight in America, that's a different story. But 5 rounds in London, man. I think. What can Corey Anderson do here? Okay, so the striking, that's nobody can even try to argue that Corey Anderson has even close to the striking Jimmy Manuwa does. So Corey Anderson's obviously going to want to take this fight to the ground and out wrestle Jimmy Manuwa. And sure, maybe he does that for a round or two, but man, Jimmy Manuwa is just so tough. He knows how to conserve his energy. So we saw this happen to Jimmy Manuwa. We saw OSP take down Jimmy Manuwa in that first round. Jimmy Manuwa comes out in that second round and starts lighting OSP up, and in a lot of ways OSP is better than Corey Anderson anyway. Corey Anderson has a better wrestling, but really OSP has a much better chin than Corey Anderson. So Corey has to out wrestle Jimmy Manuwa here for 5 rounds. He's not going to ground and pound TKO Jimmy Manuwa. I do not see that happening. So he's going to have to out wrestle him for 5 rounds, which gives Jimmy Manuwa at least five tries on the feet to knock out Corey Anderson. And I would say Jimmy Manuwa has the cardio advantage. So if it even gets to that championship rounds, Jimmy Manuwa should be the much fresher fighter and knock out Corey Anderson. Corey Anderson does not have a great chin. we saw Corey Anderson versus Gian Vellante in that 3 round fight. Corey Anderson was not able to take down Gian for 3 rounds and beat him. Gian knocked Corey Anderson out, and don't even get me started on how much of a better striker Jimmy Manuwa is than Gian Vellante, man. Jimmy Manuwa is going to snipe this dude. I'm not even convinced Corey Anderson can land one takedown here because Jimmy Manuwa knows exactly what Corey Anderson's going to do. I can honestly see Corey Anderson shooting for a double leg and Jimmy Manuwa just uppercutting his face off and getting really an early first minute KO. I can see that, but my realistic, honest first round or prediction is that Corey Anderson does have a successful first round taking down Jimmy Manuwa, but for the second time in a row, I do see Jimmy Manuwa getting a second round KO. I think he's going to punch Corey Anderson's face off here and get that big KO. So, Jimmy Manuwa's second round KO is my official prediction, and I do have 5 units on Jimmy Manuwa max play to win 3.85. That is at minus 140. So 7 plays here right now. I'll just read them off real quick. 5 units, Jimmy Manuwa to win 3.85. Oh, I completely forgot to talk about my. I skipped a fight. I skipped Joseph Duffy versus old Reza Medadi. My bad. So Joseph Duffy versus Reza Medadi, the real main event now for me for my breakdown. Joseph Duffy, he's the biggest favorite on the card for a reason here. Although I think Tom Breese should probably be the biggest favorite on the card. But Joseph Duffy rightfully is a huge favorite here against Reza Medadi. Reza Medadi is just an old dude who is just severely regressing. He's really gonna have anything for Joseph Duffy here. We saw Joseph Duffy. His weakness is his takedown defense against Dustin Poirier, but Dustin Poirier is a fighter in his prime who can do that to people. Reza Medadi is just an old fighter who really, he had an impressive win against Jan Cabral, but he punched Jan Cabral's face off. He beat him in the striking. So it's tough, man. Reza Medadi is going to have to out-grapple Joseph Duffy for 3 rounds there, and even if he takes Joseph Duffy to the ground and wrestles him down to the ground, Joseph Duffy has way superior BJJ in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think he does. So I'm comfortable with Joseph Duffy wherever this fight goes. I think honestly he's just gonna starch Reza on the feet. Reza's a guy that's never been finished, but he's also a guy that's never faced somebody like Joseph Duffy in their prime. I just see Joseph Duffy going in there and just punching the face off of Reza Medadi, knocking him out or knocking him down to the ground and wrapping up a submission. So super confident in Joseph Duffy there, and I do have 2 units on Joseph Duffy. 2 units on Duffy wins in the distance at minus 143 to win 1.4. So now getting onto my bets, I got 5 units on Jimmy Manuwa to win 3.85. 2 units Joseph Duffy wins in the distance to win 1.4. 1 unit Cheeto Vera to win 1.5. 3 units on the Gunner Breeze parlay to win 2.5. 2 units on the Diakiese Breeze parlay to win 1.7. 1 unit on Darren Stewart Brett Johns to win 1 unit. And 1 unit on Tim Johnson parlayed with the Johns under 1.5 to win 1.6, and I do plan on putting 2 units on Gunnar Nelson wins in the distance. So that's going to do it from you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. This was super long. I'm sorry about that. I just ramble on. I got to start taking notes again because when I have these notes, I get my points out a lot faster. When I don't have my notes, I kind of just ramble on, which I did now. But if you made it to this 33 minute and 36 second point in the video, thank you so much for watching. Comment below, tell me who you are betting on this weekend, and above all, enjoy the fights.